After a week of rolling around on the garage floor to get the engine out of my F-150, we're here with my 2001 SAAB that decided to crap out on me. With one of the most common issues on this SAAB model, whether it's a 2-liter, 2.3, or the 3-liter, your crankshaft position sensor is going to give you trouble at some point if you daily drive one of these vehicles. I'm going to show you how to replace your CPS or crankshaft position sensor in today's video, but first let's talk about the warning signs that this is going bad or that this is your problem. When this sensor goes haywire or goes bad, you will know it because your car will not want to run. It might stall at a stop sign, stall while driving around town, have little hiccups while driving, but more commonly, your car will start and run just fine until you get to your destination, to the store, you go in, you do your errands, your shopping, and you come back out and your car will just crank and crank and crank and not start. No restart when hot is the most common crankshaft position sensor problem with these cars, because when this sensor starts to die, when it gets hot, it won't work. It won't read the position of your crankshaft, and your timing's off in your engine. Your car won't know how to run, which is what causes the hiccups and what causes the stalling and what causes the no start. Now with my car, I had that happen to me. No codes, no check engine light on. So I decided I'm going to keep driving the car around a little bit more to see if I eventually get a CLE from it, which I did. I finally got code P0337, or crankshaft position sensor circuit A low. Now that could mean that something's wrong with your wiring, which at over 24 years old is very, very possible with these cars at this point. I've replaced a lot and had to fix a lot of wiring on my car, but fortunately it hasn't been with anything within the engine. Now my engine only has about 40,000 miles of actually being in this car, so I'm guessing that it's not the wiring, but that it is the actual sensor, which is where we're going to start. Symptoms can be very commonly mimicked by other things, such as fuel rail pressure, a old and dying fuel pump, which is also super common with these cars, or things of that nature. It could even be a clogged catalytic converter. Not very common with these. However, because mine did have a crankshaft position sensor code, I'm almost 99% certain that that was the problem with my car, but it may not be the problem with your car. So if you don't have a CLE on and you're still driving the car around, you know it has a problem, it won't start when it's hot or stalls or something similar happening, you could continue to drive it around until it throws a code. It may never throw a code, or you could continue to drive it around until it just won't run at all, which unfortunately intermittent issues are hard to figure out until your ECM and your OBD does actually pick up what's wrong with it. You can pick one of these up in a couple of days from O'Reilly's AutoZone Napa for about 40 bucks. This is an import direct, which means if you have more time and more patience, you could probably get the same sensor on Rock Auto for like 20 bucks. 65 bucks for a Dorman at O'Reilly's, like 40 bucks on Rock Auto. If your car is having those issues, it could be your CPS, and if it throws the code P0337, it more than likely is the CPS. To start this repair, you're going to want to lift your car, put it on jack stands, or get it up on ramps because you are going to be crawling under it. Don't just lift it with your jack, please. Don't crawl under it. That is a death wish. I'm going to start my repair by removing this cover. I take out all the bolts that are surrounding it. I only have 2. Hopefully you have more. I'll pull the oil cap, lift the cover off, and then put that oil cap back on, and that'll help us find the sensor's plug-in. This is the line that goes down to your crankshaft position sensor. You can tell because it has all of this heat shielding around it, so you just kind of follow this heat shielding and then it'll be a blue connector that looks just like this. So I found the heat shielding here. The crankshaft position sensor sits in the bell housing just inside the engine, so engine, transmission. So I find that heat shielding, find that line, and I trace it all the way back up to here. So this is the connector that I'm going to want to undo. To do that, I just take my screwdriver, I put it in here to get it started to come up, and then I take my fingers. You want to be very gentle, because if it's stuck, you will break this connector up here and have a heck of a time getting it to come out. These connectors are super easy. Just let them go. Don't fight them. Just pull up this purple plastic part, and as you do that, the connector should actually slide up and out of there, and it's undone that easy. Underneath the car, your sensor is right here. If you can see where my finger's pointing, it's that little black round thing. So here is your engine oil filter, and then your sensor sits up right in here. Kind of hard to see on camera, and it's gonna be somewhat hard to access in person, but you can see that sensor sitting in there with just one bolt on it. I don't have like a guard or anything in place. I just have a ton of oil down here on the bottom of my engine from an oil leak that I need to get figured out. But that sensor is right there, and it's on just a little Torx bolt. But we're gonna go ahead and undo that, and then we'll just grab onto that sensor and give it a good wiggle out and pull it out, and then hopefully we can get it to come out of the bottom here. We'll put our new one in the same fashion and put that bolt back in place. Got that sensor out of there. Just kind of snuck my hand up in here behind the exhaust manifold, broke it loose, wiggled it out, and then I pulled it out through the bottom here. Now I actually might try to snake the new one down from the top. The old sensor, so obviously it's going to be a little oily, little grimy from being in the crankcase, but this one actually does not look too bad, and it looks like we have the right part. They match pretty darn well. The connector's the same, sensor's the same size, everything is the same. One thing to check when it goes back in is make sure your new one has this O-ring right here, and that O-ring's not cracked, and that it's good. Otherwise it will leak oil. You can see that old one here is quite loose and it's shrunk up quite a bit. So you want to make sure that you have an O-ring on your new one before you leave the parts store. Here's my sensor connector. The sensor's dangling down there. I actually crawled up down below and I shoved that sensor up in and kind of hung it there on the exhaust manifold engine block. And then I took my incredibly long pair of needle nose pliers and I just reached down in there, lightly grabbed that sensor and pulled it up. And now I'm just going to dangle the wiring here until I can push that sensor in and get it bolted in. Now, something you want to be very careful of and pay attention to when you are putting the sensor in, you want to keep that sensor really clean, because any contaminants on that sensor are going to get into your engine block, because that little hole right there is a portal to your crankcase where all of your oil sits. Obviously, even if it was on the cam sensor or something, it would still get into your oil. So you want to keep that free of contaminants. And there we have the new sensor in. I installed the bolt just the same way. I took my 3/8 extension, got it up in there, got it started, and then just torqued it down using this. Now you want it pretty tight, but not overly tight, because you could easily strip out that screw or that bolt that's in there. So you don't want to do it too crazy tight. I'm going to snake this wiring around a little bit back to where the old one was and get it plugged in. Then this connector at the back of the engine goes back in the same way it came out. There's only one way to put that connector in. So if it doesn't line up, just turn that plug around and it'll line right up. Slightly, very gently push in on it as you push down on that purple tab, and it'll help it slide through the grooves and click or lock into place. Put the engine cover back on, fire it up. If your car doesn't start, you either don't have it plugged in, something's wrong with the new sensor's wiring, or the new sensor is completely dead, which in today's world is all too common. So if for whatever reason your car does not start now, check those 3 things. So thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If this video helped you out in any way, replace your crankshaft position sensor, determine what is wrong with your car or help you keep looking for future problems, then go ahead and smash that thumbs up button because it helps me out tremendously. And consider subscribing to the channel. Hit that bell icon so you don't miss out on any future videos that I have on this car, on my F-150, or on anything else. I have a bunch of review videos coming out that will be a lot of fun. So hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon, smash the thumbs up button, get out, enjoy your automotive ownership, and I'll catch you in the next one.